All right, all right. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Akia Me here, the Success Scholar. Now that's better. That's better. Absolutely. I've been shooting a little bit earlier, and looks like I've been shooting into the bright sun, so that's a little bit better. So let me give people a few people time to tune in. I wanted to uh, address a few things here. Akia Me, the Success Scholar. A lot of good things are happening. But first thing I will address is I'll speak about this upcoming Black Panther film. Few people, lots of people are going to see it. Uh, looking like predictions, people are predicting anywhere from $250 million, and I have the honor of being a co-sponsor of one of the local signings in Laurel, Maryland. Tickets are sold out, as well as they are sold out for the after party. And someone reached out to me. They asked me, did I want to interview one of the grandmother of the main actor? So I'll after I get through this weekend, I'll consider doing such a thing. So, but let me just talk a little bit about that film. And actually, I'll for those, let me just do my promo. I'll be in the upcoming Homewood. I'm sorry, Homeland. What I'm talking Homewood, Homeland television series, the opener, and there was some questions about my role in that, and I must affirm that no, I'm not I didn't play a major part in it, but I mean, when you know what your future is, you know that you have options, and you're creating options, and so everything is a learning process, and as well as a networking process. So it's about managing your money, managing your time, managing your resources. All right. So with that being said, go see the film. But as I heard another gentleman say that if we are able to spend a substantial amount of money, on a film, what about other particular issues that's going on collectively? So, and that's what I began to understand, that wealth is in the minds of people, not necessarily in a particular social status or particular education. People can have various types of skills and manifest that into different cash flow. So, and that's the thing, you got to connect to thinkers and readers and builders. So with that being said, I don't know how many of you saw the recent interview. I saw clips. I didn't want to watch the whole thing, but of course, I mean, I didn't watch all of the details, but I did post something yesterday. Some people got upset, and I was just like, I'm just asking a question. I asked it. Quincy Jones mentioned Tupac, and many people know, and I know one of Tupac's cousins who's still in the Baltimore area, and I was trying to get him when we did a panel discussion around the film, and that was called the FBI War on Tupac discussion. So I couldn't get him or one of the other actors that was actually in that film. But so several people have chimed in about this uh, Quincy Jones article, and matter of fact, I got Dick Gregory's book right in front of me. Yeah, it's interesting. So this is his book, Defining Moments in Black History, and he talks about, but more so Barry Gordy of Motown, um, but he mentioned in this interview about Jimi Hendrix, and let me just kind of read. I want to read just two things, and I would encourage everybody. to go out and get this because Quincy Jones mentioned Jimi Hendrix as well as Michael Jackson. So I'm gonna give, for those that didn't get the book, just what Dick Gregory had to say, his words about Jimi Hendrix. Some black folks don't care about Jimi Hendrix because he played rock music instead of black music like soul and R&B. What they may not know though is that rock and roll came out of the blues, yeah, which is the blackest music that there is. And Hendrix was just about the best guitar player there was. If you are making up stories, you have a hard time coming up with a sadder one in the history of Jimi Hendrix's life. He was born in Seattle, Washington. His parents were alcoholics. His mother died from it when Jimmy was 15. And the more they drank, the more they fought each other. Jimmy would run and hide. The little boy coped with his life by playing the guitar before he even had a guitar. He would pretend he was playing with a broom. After a while, his daddy gave him an ukulele. I don't know what that is. A ukulele that didn't have one string. Ukulele. I don't know what that is. Watch that book a lot of men. Oh, all right. Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. Yeah, man. All right. Let me know. Let me know. I mean, I'm like halfway through it, but let me know which parts I haven't really talked to anybody about anything. And then let me think that I see anything that I thought was I can't recall if I mean, and let me just say, I kind of know that sometimes you have to take what Robert D. Gregory and kind of discern it. So I do know that, but I try to lift through you know, and sift through different things. But it was some jewels here that I wasn't aware of. So he practiced hours talking about the blues, and that's what Hendrix listened to when he was learning to play. Blues musicians like Robert Johnson, B.B. King, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters. Goes to show you we don't have to have too much to create something powerful. Hendrix got into a little trouble when he was younger. The second time he was caught riding a stolen car, they gave him a choice between prison and the army. He chose the army. He was so miserable in the service, although he begged his daddy to please send him his guitar. After he got in the army, Jimmy joined different bands and played in the chillin' circuit where blacks could put shows on, mostly in the South and along the East Coast. In early 1964, he connected with the Isley Brothers, playing with in the backup band. He was happy about that at first, but after a while, he began to play. After a while, because he could play so well, but then he got tired of somebody being somebody's side man. He left the Ozzy and moved to New York and then to London, where he got the manager who organized a band to show off Hendrix' talent on the guitar. They called it the Jimi Hendrix Experience. They were hit all over. In 1967, they cut an album called Are You Experience, which was one of the biggest records to come out in the 1960s. It was a mix of things. Some of it was rock with weird sounds, and some of it was straight up blues, and all of it showed Hendrix nimble fingered guitar playing with his voice, which didn't sound like anybody else. He played lights, a blues guitar. The blues guitar had all that funny electronic feedback and headbanging white rock musicians had. He had a sound all of his own. And the same year, the group made the album Axis. Let me get down to the bottom. In 1969, back in the United States, Hendrix headlined a 4-day outdoor concert at Woodstock. Almost 500,000 people when Hendrix played the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, his way. Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner in 1984, 1814, but I don't think he could ever have imagined Hendrix would one day would one day what he would one day do with it. Jimmy didn't sing it; he just played it in electric guitar. He played. I didn't remember that. I didn't know that. Okay. He played one of the line of the song, and in between that and the next one, those fingers got to flying, making all the chugging, churning rock feedback. It was like he was saying, "They say America one way, but listen to how it really is." People still talk about that performance. I'm gonna look that up after this. Um, but what's really interesting, and he do talk about Richard Pryor in here. as well. They do, and I did attend his funeral. A few people attended. It was really good to see just the different people there. Actually, Bill Cosby came out. He can say really laid the foundation for what that Gregory did. So check that out. And again, I don't want to pretend like I know anything more than anybody else. I just feel like, having this book and meeting Dick Gregory a few times, seeing him always around DC. It's interesting when he transitioned. Uh, there was already a initiative to show a film that he did, a documentary. It was just him speaking. Some and it's online. It's actually on YouTube. And I was asked to moderate because the sister couldn't actually do it. So it was just a big coincidence that I was able to do that. But and this the part that I really wanted to get to. So that's the part about Jimi Hendrix. He does mention Richard Pryor in there, and I know Quincy Jones mentioned Richard Pryor as well. So I know that created some controversy. But they said Michael died at two. Oh God, okay. All right, I know what Brother Raymond's saying now. Michael died at 2 o'clock in the morning. He was killed by a laser, and nobody has lasers but the government. Okay, so Dick Gregory is saying that Michael Jackson was killed by a laser. All right, now, and I don't want to dismiss it. I don't want to sound like that just because I don't know. I'm just saying. Now, the doctor, the black guy, they accused of killing him, Conrad Murray. He did only 2 years of jail time. He killed the most famous human being on the planet, and that's all you get. What does that tell you? He wasn't the one who did it. And let's look at Michael Jackson. Let's look at Michael Jackson. Watch James Brown. For 29 years, he studied him. No envy, no business, just watching. And then one day, he slipped from 29 years of studying to do the moonwalk and brought things to a whole other level. Now, I haven't got a single grandchild 1.5 years old, or 21 or 20, who can outmoon Michael Jackson because once you put it out there, whether it's moonwalk or fastest 100-yard dash in history, somebody else will come along and top you. But Michael was the first. Oh, so this is what I wanted to get into now. If Quincy Jones would have been for real, I mean, like, not saying that he was for real, but if you want to give an interview, like, go and break down the whole Sony contracts. I heard Professor Griff talk about this as well. But Michael was the only top entertainer who had a black account. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I heard it before, but in 1985, Michael bought Associated Television, which owned the Beatles songbook for 47.5 million. When they killed him, it was worth close to $1 billion. $47 million, and it was worth $1 billion. But to back up a minute, shortly before he died, Michael was rehearsing. He was supposed to do 50 shows in the city of London. And he said, "That's BS. Nobody." This is his voice, by the way. Nobody could do that. And I'm reading from Dick Gregory's book. Everybody that just tuned in, Defining Moments in Black History. Let me know. I do have copies available. That's BS. Nobody could do that. He was insured for 17.5 million with Lloyd's of London. Now think about that for a minute. If he had died, there wouldn't have been a show. It's not like there was an understudy they could have brought in. Can you imagine that? There would have been riots that made LA 92 look like Catholic Mass. Michael was the show. So Lloyd's of London put all that money on something that depended on one person. And you're telling me they didn't look at him long enough to see the needle holes in his arms? I'll explain the needle marks in a minute. Now, before that, we go back to the accusations against Michael, all the lies told about him. That little white dentist, Evan Chandler, he sued Michael because he said Michael had allegedly fondled his son. What really happened was this: Chandler was a screenwriter. He said, Michael, I've got a couple of movies I'd like you to help make. Michael said, I'm not interested in that. When the dentist said to his son, Michael fondled you. Next thing you know, there was a trial in California. Around that time, Michael's mother and daddy called me up. This is Joe. He said his dad said, "Me and my wife want you to come out here. Michael's dying." They knew Michael would let me upstairs to see him, even though he was refusing all visits. That's how close Mike and I were. The day the trial was over, before the verdict came in, I was in the car with Michael. We got to his house and he was so upset. He went right upstairs. He went right upstairs. When I went into his room, he hugged me and whispered, "I'm scared." I said, "When was the last time you had some water?" "I haven't. They'll poison me." I said, "When was the last time you ate?" "I can't eat." He needed somebody to help him. So that's what I tried to do. I knew somebody who Okay. I knew somebody who had a special kind of machine. She came down at night and used it to test Michael. She said he was dying of dehydration. I said to Michael, "You're dehydrated. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to take you somewhere else. We can't let a hospital know you're coming, but we'll take you to San Francisco. We just walk in a hospital that doesn't know we're coming." So we got in the car and drove to the hospital. When we poured out up to the door, we saw the car had been following. A car had been following us. Pull over. The hospital staff hooked Mike up at 5:30 that day, and at 6:30 the next morning, they were still giving him IV fluids. The doctor said 12 more hours, Michael would have been dead. Once he was stabilized, Michael now had time to go to the farm. After that, the press was all over the world said how good he looked. "Oh, doesn't he look good?" Michael had a sadness about him. He was like a sad child with all those animals. One time, I'm sitting up there and I see Michael's got his chimp in a baby bed. I thought it was a stuffed chimp. Another time I slept out there one night and I looked up and there was a giraffe looking through my window. That place is like a fairy tale. Michael would try to pay me back for things. I tell him, "What do I need your money for? Go buy you some lollipops or something." Once he gave me a code to the hotel where he was staying in New York. I went in, I did my lights, put mics around and talked to me for 2 days. He said, "Tell me about blackness. Tell me about love like a child." All right. So, man, this go on, y'all. I ain't gonna go two more pages of reading. You all can read it for yourself. But let me see. I'm just gonna try to, we talk about Jack Johnson in this, but I wanted to just really kind of add on to that. See you tonight, Aunt Miriam. Hope you're still coming. Uh, so yeah, yeah. So this is really informative. I know brother said to look into that. You know, not everything in here may be on point, and of course he didn't have a chance to see the final product. So who knows what the publisher actually changed or wrote. And I know that some people had wished that they would have had a more prominent role and wished to overstate their role. Everybody was tight with somebody, you know. But I was there for the funeral, so I know who actually was, who the family realized were the who was close to Dick Gregory. So again, don't try to make the conspiracies and the conspiracy people out to anything more than that. So that's all I wanted to say, brothers and sisters. Thank you all for tuning in, listening. I'm gonna go back and look at that interview, but I was wondering would Quincy Jones say anything about that Tupac interview. So I mean the Tupac instance. So uh, but a lot of things going on, and so I'm gonna finish reading this book here. It's a good day tonight. Got an event in Baltimore for those that are coming. Holla at the Success Scholar. Got some food for everybody. So do come on out, network, connect the dots. 6 o'clock, 6 to 7. I'm gonna leave early. I gotta bounce and go check some other things out, do some other things. But just wanted to talk about that and just really open up that conversation about like for real. I know if Quincy Jones wanted to really share some stuff, like for real, go in. I mean, I heard he talked about the the who killed Kennedy, and I don't know if anything. Dick Gregory, I know he talked about that a few times about the whole Kennedy assassination. It may be in here. I don't know if I missed that, but he talked about MLK and Malcolm. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he wouldn't miss that. But my battery is dying, everybody, so I gotta get going here. But thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back with some knowledge here real soon. I'm out. Peace. Let me